Giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem, Rakak Kodash. Shalom to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect out there. Shalom to all. Anyway, I'm going to entitle this video, All Holy Convocations are based upon the new moon. The based upon the new moon is good, or the moons. In other words, every holy convocation that's written in the law, whether it's Passover, the Sabbath, the Day of Atonement, the Feast of Tabernacles, all these days are based upon the new moon or the month calendar. So there's a controversy with IUIC individual name by the name of Deacon Malachi. He had did a video and he had mentioned the Sabbath, and he said he spoke about the new moon, in not too many words, all these feasts or holy convocations. We're going to go into the word holy convocations are governed by the new moon, except for the Sabbath. No scripture on it. No. So what they say is Friday sundown to Saturday sundown is the Sabbath, because when you go to a calendar, you see how the calendar is written or laid out. And the 7th day, they say it starts on a Sunday, right? Sunday. And then that Friday, 6 days shall work be done, in the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest. So you look at a Gregorian calendar, and it always falls on a Friday sundown to Saturday, Friday night, as the sun's going down. So all day Saturday is the Sabbath. And that's what the small hats, the J's, follow. But it doesn't say take a calendar from the heathens like we were in the wilderness. The laws were broken down to us, given to us in the wilderness after we left so-called Egypt, Mizraim. Most High delivered us from Mizraim. And so we didn't have we didn't follow the Sabbath back then. We did what the Egyptians told us to do. If they gave us a day of rest, that was their day. That wasn't our day. So so-called Friday sundown, Saturday sundown, or 6 days we to work and the 7th day we to rest. We didn't. Well, they probably let us rest, but on their day. And it doesn't say that. You can do some research on that. But when you make the statement that the Sabbath is always all high holy days are governed by the new moon, but the only day that the only holy convocation or holy day or feast, because you ate on that day, Sabbath was a feast as well. Because you ate before the sun went down. You ate the new moon. Before the sun went down, you cook whatever you're going to cook, and you ate it when the sun went down. Same thing goes with Passover. Any other holy convocation. Now, Purim was not a Sabbath. It was just a feast day. You used to be happy on that day. And another thing, on the Sabbath, the scriptures say keep the Sabbath to make it holy. That's in Exodus 20. Mainly in Exodus 20. So what does it mean to keep it holy? How do you keep it holy? Do you take a box named Sabbath and you make sure a dog doesn't piss on it? How do you keep the Sabbath holy? By you keeping yourself holy. Now remember, the word holy in the Latin goes back to santa. Santa means clean, sanitary. If you're bugged out in the mind, you're unsound in the mind, unclean in the mind, they send you to a sanitarium, which is a place to clean your mind. You have the sanitation department. What does the sanitation department do? They clean the streets. If the sanitation trucks didn't come around, you would have diseases because dirt would be piled up on each other. Garbage would be piled up upon garbage. That's what I'm trying to say. So when the scripture says, honor the Sabbath and keep it holy, that means you keep yourself holy. Remember when the Israel came to the mount, the Most High told Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai told Moses for the Israelites, mainly the men, but the men and the women, to when they approach, that they keep themselves clean from women for 3 days. So if you're without a woman for 1 day, can you imagine you being without a woman for 3 days? Then you're even more holier. You're cleaner. So the big controversy, which is not even a controversy, is that the Sabbath is based upon the new moon. That's why you have a cycle. That calendar, the Most High gave us this calendar in the sky. And I can look up, I can just look up at the sky and I can know how many days we got before the new moon comes in. The new moon comes in about another week and change. We're right around the time of, I'm not going to bring up a calendar, but we're right around the time, maybe 2 days ago, was a full moon, which was not the new moon. So now the scriptures, the law speaks about adding to the law and taking away from the law. If you say the Sabbath is Friday sundown to Saturday sundown all the time, then you're taking away from the law and you're adding to the law, which means you're taking away from the book and you're adding to the book. So you're coming with your own understanding. GMS got it right. Sakari got it right because the leader of Sakari came up under us. He saw it and he said, yeah, it makes sense. I'm going to go with that. There's certain things that Sakari, the leadership of Sakari, go against what we're saying. They said, well, it doesn't mean what GMS is saying. I'm bringing it down right. But one of the things is not the Sabbath. They go by the Sabbath. Oh, another thing. The Sakari, the leader of Sakari came up under GMS. When he came up under GMS, he heard us go through the MOTB. He still teaches that. Why? Because he came up under us. Now, did he change it? No, because he checked it out for himself and he sees it. Just like, and it's no different from us coming from the 7, and we saw certain things that they went off and we changed it through the Spirit. One of them was the Sabbath. Because if the Most High wanted you to keep the Sabbath according to a particular calendar, he would have said that. He said any captivity you go under, anywhere you go, get by a calendar and look at that calendar and count 6 days, and on that evening is the 7th day. There's nowhere in the scriptures that says that. Now it tells you when to keep the Sabbath, and it tells you when to keep the other high holy days. So I'm going to read it from first. I'm not going to read the whole chapter. But what I did was I typed in the word month, which means moon. And I believe the word there in the Hebrew is Chadash, not Kodash. Kodash means holy. But Chadash, which means new, meaning the new moon. And by the way, the moon is not taken away and destroyed, and the new moon is given. The new moon means a refreshed moon. Refreshed moon. It's the same moon, but it looks like it's new. Nothing new under the sun. Anyway, so let me go read. I'm not going to make this long. It says, and Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the... Now right there, the word there is sons of Yasha'Allah, which means Yasha'Allah, he, prince of God, so you can understand. And say unto them concerning the feast of Yahweh. Is not the Sabbath a feast of Yahweh, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations? Is the Sabbath a holy convocation? We're going to see. Even these are my feast. What's included in the list of feast? The Sabbath. You cook the food before the sun went down. You eat when the sun finally went down. 6 days. So anybody that's teaching otherwise, you err not knowing the scripture. And that includes the IUIC. 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest and holy convocation. Also a feast. You ate on that night. Holy convocation. Proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feasts. One of them is a Sabbath, which is a holy convocation. Now we are so scattered that we can't get together with each other. But in the kingdom, every the sixth day, when the sun's going down, all your servants are not going to work. They're not going to have to work. You're not going to touch them, not going to beat them. They're going to be able to rest. But that 24-hour period, when the sun go down, then they're going to go right back to work or getting their ass kicked. You can't beat their asses either. You got to give them a break. So the Sabbath is a feast and a holy convocation. I just read that. Ye shall do no work therein. Now some of us got to work because you got certain jobs, but you try to look for a job that you don't got. You can bring in a letter from whatever Israelite group you're from, stating that we don't work on those days. He needs to have these days off, and if they don't do it, you can take them to the courts. Because the small hats don't got to work; they can get the days off. Their Sabbath is different from ours. They're not keeping the Sabbath the right way. Now this month or this moon cycle happens to fall on Friday sundown, so everybody's keeping it correct. It is a Sabbath of Yahweh in all your dwellings, wherever you may go. It says, so that's the very first holy convocation, the Sabbath, and it's based upon 6 days shall thou work. So how do you come? What measurement stick do you use? What calendar do you use? You don't use the Egyptian calendar. The Egyptian calendar was off. In the wilderness, we didn't have a calendar. The only calendar we had was the sun, the moon, and the stars. And by the way, if you want to put a name on the calendar that we use, it's not called the lunar calendar. We say the lunar calendar, but it's the solar lunar calendar, because how do you count from one day to the next day? You count from one day to the next day with the sun. The sun is up, sun goes down, sun comes up, that's the next day. But the prominent light in the sky for our calendar is the moon. Everything is based upon the moon. We look at the moon more than we look at the sun. It says, these are the feasts. What's the first one? Holy Convocation, and these are my feasts. Holy Convocation and feasts. Holy Convocation, 6 days, Sabbath of rest, and Holy Convocation, a feast. You eat that night. These are the feasts of Yahweh, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons, in their times of years. And throughout those seasons, you're going to always have a Sabbath. In the 14th day of the first moon cycle, or Kadash. And you brothers in GMS, you men in GMS, you got to learn how to pronunciate. Not pronunciate, meaning you have to, a lot of y'all get lazy. You know, when you say Yahweh, some of y'all say Howah. Like the Yah Israelites that say Yah. Yah's not his name. Yahweh. Yahweh Shai. Rakah Kwadash, as opposed to Rakah Kadash. You gotta pronounce everything. When you have professional singers, they in the studio they pronounce every word so it can come through clear. A new singer, you can't hardly hear the word. They're struggling with the words. So a singer that's been singing for 20 years, 30 years, that have that experience, they pronounce every word that they sing so you can hear it clearly. So stop saying Rakah Kadash. Say Rakah. Take the time out to say it slow. Rakah Kodash. Rakah, spirit, Kodash. Or Ha, the Rakah, spirit. Ha, the Kodash, holy. The new moon is a Chadash. I believe Carthage, which was a city famous for Hannibal Lecter, and his father was a real warrior. He was a real hero, but his son took over, which was Hannibal Lecter. He was an Israelite. His name was Hannibal Barca. And the place in Africa that they had control over was a place called Carthage. Now, Carthage is the word in the Hebrew. Look it up in the Google if it's still up there. I did it many years ago. Carthage is Chadash, city. It translates into new city, and those were Israelites. Hannibal Barca was an Israelite because we had a kingdom in Africa. So we were in Africa long before 70 AD. It says, in the 14th day of the first Chadash, at evening is the Lord's Passover, which happens to fall on the regular Sabbath. Some of these high holy days fall on a regular Sabbath, some don't. The Day of Atonement does not fall on a regular Sabbath. The regular Sabbath comes in about, 3 days? It's 7th day, 6th day going 7th day, 8, 9. It go 2 days. You have the Sabbath, right? 2 days later at sundown, that's the 9th day of evening. That's the Day of Atonement. So you keep a Sabbath, and then when the Day of Atonement comes, 2 days later, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 2 days, 2.5 days, whatever. You keep the Day of Atonement and also the Sabbath. Make thyself holy. Have no sex. Don't work on that day. So as you read down, it's very easy to understand it. If all these high holy days are based upon a new moon, 14th day at evening, tabernacle, 7th month, 14th day at evening, Day of Atonement, 9th day at evening, they're all holy convocations. That's the key word. Matter of fact, I'm going to go on the word holy convocation. And by the way, we're rehearsing righteous acts. All you guys that say you keep the law, are you keeping the Passover? Are you raising your own lamb from a year old, that means you have to have a farm. So in the kingdom, we're gonna have farms. All of us are gonna be farmers. Did I pass it? Holy, Kodash, convocation, Makwar, I'm sorry, Makwar, Makwara. Let me break this. Let me go into it. Ra, which is ma qua ra, ma meaning from, right? From, reading, a calling together. So it's from a calling together. You call in the people with the ram's horn. The root word is qua ra. Call, right? So when the Sabbath, the Sabbath came in, you blew the trumpet. Everybody knew that the Sabbath's coming in. The Passover, you had men, the priests, they would call in the people and remind them the Sabbath is coming up, or the Passover is coming up, or the Day of Atonement is coming up. So now you can't say, well, she didn't know us. Well, we showed you. The men of the Most High showed you when the Sabbath comes in. The Sabbath does not necessarily come in on the Friday sundown, the Saturday sundown. I'm trying to find something here. Bear with me for a minute. Okay, that's it. That's all I'm going to deal with. Like I said, I was going to make this short with that. On to the next one. So like I said, if you don't do these things, let me do this. Deuteronomy 4, I believe. If it's not 4, it's chapter 6. Okay, you can start from the first verse. Israel urges to obey the Most High's laws. Second verse, you can start the first verse. It says, ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, which is the laws, neither shall ye diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of Yahweh your power, which I command you. Let me start from the first verse. Now therefore hearken, O Yasha'Allah, unto the statutes and unto the judgments under the laws, which I teach you. For now we're teaching you when the Sabbath comes in. We didn't say the Sabbath comes in on that day. We proved it. Prove all things and hold fast to that which is good. So anybody that watches this video outside of GMS, or even outside of Sakari, because Sakari keeps the Sabbath the way we keep it, then you're not keeping the law properly. And you can't say, well, I didn't know, because we're telling you. For to do them, that ye may live and go in and possess the land which Yahweh the Most High, our fathers, give you, ye shall not add unto the words. Which you can't say, no, the Friday sundown, the Saturday sundown, get a calendar at 7-Eleven. And then you're leading the people astray. And if a deacon Malachi was a sincere man, an honest man, he would call a council and say, look, we're going off on it. The scriptures say, and we always bring this up in Jeremiah 17, it said, cursed be the man that trusteth in man. The Apostle Paul, he honored the church of Berea over the church of Thessalonica because they double-checked everything that he did, that he said. They believed and confirmed. That's what the church of Thessalonica, which is about 45 miles away from them. Anytime he went to Thessalonica, he made a stop to the church of Berea because they were in distance to each other. Neither shall ye diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of Yahweh and your power which I command thee. Now let me go to the 6th chapter. And really, when you get together with Israelites, you know what you're supposed to be talking about? The scriptures, the laws. Judgment, possess the land, thou shalt mightest keep the statutes and commandments which I command you, thou son of man, and the sons. I command thee, thou and thy son and thy son's sons, all the days of thy life, and that thy days may be prolonged. And thou shalt love Yahweh with all thy heart, for I command thee this day. That 7th verse, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy sons. The word there is sons. And shall talk, and so talk. When you have a conversation, it's about the laws. Even thou sitteth, then them, when thou sitteth in thy house. When you sit down and eat, you talk about the laws. We have the rest of the scriptures, you talk about the scriptures. And when thou walketh by the way, when you walk on your neighbor, you talk about the laws. And we have the rest of the scriptures, so you talk about the prophecies. This is why we always go into the MOTB. And we're 100% correct when it comes to the MOTB being a micro C hip. Any other group that's teaching otherwise, they're dead wrong. And if they don't change it, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai may destroy you. The prophets of the Lord have spoken. And we were set up where we normally set up, and there was some men sitting down. They were sitting down where we were at, and they were playing radio. Older men of grown men, and they was chilling, sipping beer or whatever. And we just moved down a little bit further. We just moved down somewhat further. And you know what them guys did? They packed up everything and they moved further up where we didn't hear that music. So I was telling the Apostle Gabar next to me, I was saying it so that the Apostle Ramlab and the bishop can hear it. I said, you notice they moving, right? You notice they getting up and moving. He said, because they look at us as holy men. There's a lot of people that pass by, they kind of bow to us. They'll look at us for a minute, they'll give a head nod, and they'll keep moving. It's like they know that the holy men are there. It's something that you can see, oh, that's a holy man. And they don't even know what we're talking about because they don't even get close enough, but they perceive that these are holy men. You can't disturb them. And I read that all in the spirit. We read spirits. We can read spirits. Hey, look, you read spirits every day. If you're walking down the street and you see a bunch of grimy jakes on the corner, you might walk across the street. Because if you keep walking, you might get, people that don't know the city, they don't know how to walk the talk. That's reading the spirits. You get pulled over by a police officer, you know right off the bat whether it's a racist cop, a cop that want to start trouble, or cool. And I always calm the police down. I say, how you doing, officer? How's your evening? Oh, my evening. I just took down their whole spirit. I said, may I ask what was I stopped for? Well, I'll tell you in a minute. Let me check your thing. Then they'll say most of the time, damn near all of the time, they'll come back and say, well, what's the term? Through the stop sign, you kind of did a rolling stop. I'm not going to give you a ticket, but everything's straight. You have a nice evening, officer. I said, you have a nice evening, sir. And I said, well, you too, officer. You have a nice day. You know? So how you going to teach the laws when you don't know the laws? How you going to tell somebody the Sabbath day is Friday sundown to Saturday sundown when you're dead wrong? Would you be willing to bet your life on it, Tar? You damn Skippy, I would. So this could cause you to not make it. This could cause you to not make it. You know? And see, what you got to have in place, when you have a gathering of men, you have a leader, you got to have leaders up under you, man, to keep you in check. See, IUIC, I know for a fact they don't have any other under leadership to keep Bishop Nathaniel in check. Whatever he says, they just go by it. Oh, he said it, so let's go by it. Cursed be the man that trusteth in man. No way in hell I would have came in here on a horse. That was telling them I'm the head motherfucker. I'm the Caesar of this thing. So you can get mad all you want to, but we're telling you the truth. Then it shall be known there have been a prophet among them. With that, I'm going to say shalom on to the next one. And stop playing, because the Most High do not play. Papa don't take no mess, my ninja. Shalom.